Newcastle United kickstart their season with a massive 5-1 win against Aston Villa, but it's just a start as we now take on Man City this upcoming weekend against last year's champions. I think will be a hell of a battle. Sandro Tonali, not only did he play a great first game, but he celebrated in Wetherspoons, of all places. He drinks Moretti, eats spaghetti in Wetherspoons with Newcastle fans. Amazing. So we'll talk about that, as well as the fact not only did we have a match at the weekend, we also had the first episode of the Newcastle Amazon series, which was a good one. And it's just the first of 4, and there's plenty more to come. And we'll finish off this video with a bit of transfer news as well. Yes, guys, welcome back to Toon Tuesdays, your weekly roundup of Newcastle United news, a series that I've been doing for a fair few years now. We take all of the week's news and put it into one video. I know loads of you guys watch Toon Tuesdays every week, but still haven't hit that subscribe button. So if that's you, please hit the button. We're getting closer and closer to 50,000 subscribers, which is amazing. It's thanks to you guys. Help us hit that tally. Go ahead, press that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, be sure to go and check out my Patreon as well. I actually did a video this morning talking about the great man, Mr. Sandro Tonali, and his perfect debut. So if you're interested in helping support the channel as well as a bit of extra content, be sure to go and check that out. But let's start off with the game against Aston Villa at the weekend. As I say, a massive 5-1 win to Newcastle. The atmosphere was absolutely amazing. You know, we knew it was going to be a tough game against a good Aston Villa side, or at least we thought it would be. We thrashed them in the end. As I say, not just did we score all the goals, we could have had more. You look at their goalie, Martinez, well, what else did he do? Well, he was rugby tackling Almiron for one thing, but aside from that, he made 2-3 really good saves. You know, that if they had have gone in, you wouldn't have blamed the goalie for it. It was a few of them were through on goal, and he pulled off a miracle. And had they gone in, it would have been even more. So yeah, big win, confidence high, loads of very good individual performances from Isak. I thought Gordon looked brilliant. Tonali, we'll talk a little bit more on in a minute for his celebrations after the game. Yeah, some great performances, and we want to carry that over into Man City this weekend. I've mentioned it a few times. Newcastle have, of all the Premier League teams, ranked the hardest 5 first games of the season, and I think it will be a difficult one going to the Etihad as it starts raining, by the way. What is it with the weather at the moment? For God's sake, I'm going to be soaked at the end of this video. We'll power through. Hopefully it's not raining this weekend for the travelling Newcastle fans down to the Etihad Stadium. Look, it's going to be tough. They're an amazing side. I want to see Isak really kick on this season. He got 2 goals at the weekend. Can he get a few more against Manchester City? I would love to see him really pushing for, you know, golden boot, like really up there. I think the person he'll be taking on is Haaland, and I think he will be a real handful for our defence this weekend. I thought, generally speaking, we were good defensively. I think it wasn't just good individual performances, it was very good team performances. We worked for each other. There was a great example where Gordon literally chased all the way back down the line to get the ball back. He wasn't just pressuring from the front, attacking from the front. He was chasing all the way back. And that's the team that Eddie Howe has built. It's the team that Eddie Howe wants. It's a team that works hard, pressures high, works back. And we've got to do it this weekend for sure against a very good Man City side. But we will have the full preview later in the week, so I won't jump into that just too much right now. Something else that we saw happen today, actually, was Newcastle announce their newest hospitality suite. That's right, the rooftops has now been announced in the stadium. Stadium development, expansion is very hot topic. And here you go, a bit of news on that. It looks very, very nice, I must say. And a big part of the hospitality stuff is actually being pushed by Champions League. Newcastle in the Champions League this season, we have to have a certain number of hospitality seats available. So we've got the new one over at the rooftops in the Gallagher, and we've also seen the seats being put into the Leazes stand as well. There's actually a section similar to what you see in the Middleburn with the very middle, where there's the padded seats. We've done exactly the same over in the middle of the Leazes, which again, upset a few fans who'd sat there forever and have now been pushed out and moved somewhere else. But if you are interested in doing some hospitality stuff, there's more available than ever. The trouble is it's more expensive than ever as well. But it's good to see that as we talk about development, expansion, it's good to see that we are doing development. You know, maybe it's not for every fan to be able to afford and sit in that seat all the time, but it does look fantastic. And you could go as far as say it's extra money coming in. You know, to have that much money coming through, it's going to help. It's going to help pay for the wage bill. I know that it's going to help with a lot of things. And as we try and bring in more sponsors, you know, corporates who want to come in and sponsor the stadium. Obviously, we've got the newest sponsor with Seller. You know, we're still waiting to hear about training ground sponsors, stadium sponsors. I think there's a whole host of more stuff we will hear from very, very soon. Box sponsors for the rooftops. You know, that's all the kind of thing that we'll be working on. Peter Silverstone will be working on behind the scenes to really try and ramp up money in any way, shape or form from any area of the ground. So, yeah, work going on there. We'll look to hear more of what's happening on that next. But something else that happened over the weekend, aside from the game, was the Amazon documentary. You guys let me know your thoughts on that one down below. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't watch it in the end over the weekend with all of the match and everything else going on. I actually watched it on Sunday afternoon. I actually watched it twice on Sunday afternoon because the missus caught me watching it halfway through and wanted to watch it as well. So I pretty much watched the whole thing twice. And I didn't mind watching it twice, to be honest, because it was great. I caught things that I didn't see the first time. It obviously builds up slowly to kind of who are Newcastle, what has kind of happened up to this point. We're not joining the team from the start of last season. It's really from the January window, pretty much the moment Trippier comes through the door. That is where the documentary starts. It will obviously see us take the journey through to the final of Wembley, and then the finale, which is 4, so there's 4 episodes. The finale will be us. No spoilers, so mute if you don't already spoilers. For when we get our Champions League spot. So, yes, very excited, very much enjoyed the first episode. Great to see it kind of behind the scenes. It'll be interesting to hear what the thoughts are from neutrals. You know, did they enjoy it? Because, you know, strangely enough, I quite enjoyed Sunderland Till I Die. I don't know if that was because I laughed at it throughout the whole thing. Darren Gibson, you know, having to go at people in the pub and getting secretly recorded. So that's the kind of documentary you want. You want like, the behind the scenes, like the nitty gritty, what's going on. I didn't find the Man City one particularly enjoyable. Let's all, you know, watch Pep win trophies. You know, that wasn't particularly interesting. I want to see what's going on behind this. I thought the Spurs one was good. I think Jose Mourinho was made for TV. So him behind the scenes kind of giving a little... And that's kind of what we saw with the Newcastle one. Amanda Staveley in the taxi, you know, Everton are bluffing. We will get Gordon over the line. And we did. And we did knock them down a few extra quid. It was strange how there was such a big focus on Gordon, and then really Gordon didn't actually play an awful lot in the second half of last season. He did certainly play at the weekend, and he played very, very well. But we look forward to Friday nights, where we see the lads get to Wembley. Someone who wasn't at Wembley, but was at the game on Saturday, and as I said, for me, played a perfect debut, was Sandro Tonali. And he was not afraid to go out and celebrate, as he was pictured in Wetherspoons. I believe it was the Gosforth High Street Wetherspoons in Newcastle, so I guess maybe he's living around the Gosforth, South Gosforth area. You'd assume he would be in Pontyland. Maybe he's closer to Jesmond. Who knows? Maybe that was the nearest Wetherspoons to him. He was in Wetherspoons. There was actually a photograph originally of a reservation on the table that said Tonali. Understandably, you assume that's a wind-up. Presumably, Tonali, first of all, he's not in Wetherspoons. Second of all, that he's actually bothered to go and reserve a table. But lo and behold, he's in there, he's drinking his Moretti's, and he's enjoying it with the fans. So, a massive big up to Tonali. People are saying it's got a bit of a whiff of Jacob Murphy about it. Has he asked Jacob Murphy, Jacob, what's the nearest and nicest restaurant to go visit? Well, you're going to have to get yourself down to Wetherspoons, Sandro. That's where you get the good spaghetti. And lo and behold, he was there, as if he actually reserved the table. Amazing. You know, I do obviously have the lads who were there, and I have literally searched all over Twitter and Instagram to try and find the guys. I don't have the name of the guy who got the photo, so big up to you, mate. If you got his name, let me know down in the comments below. I want to give credit to obviously the photos and the effort he put in to find the Tonali reservation and post it online. I don't know if a mate took it for him and somebody else has posted it. But anyway, I do like the fact that, I don't know, maybe I'm not that sure on Manchester and other places, but I actually find it quite nice that Newcastle fans can just go out and just have a beer in the Wetherspoons. And I've no doubt people did ask for photos, and people would have been on him asking, can I say hello, can I get your photo? But the fact that he's got the confidence to just go out and just do it, you know, it's a nice place to be. And if it was me seeing a footballer walk by, you know, you let them get on with food, might try and catch him at the door on the way out, or maybe if I pop out and I see him on the way, I might say hello. But let people have the food, let them have the drinks, even in the Wetherspoons. Newcastle players are happy to go out and mingle with the fans. I think it's just tremendous. So big up to Tonali. Let's hope he doesn't have too many Morettis, and he has a performance on Saturday against Man City similar to the one he had against Villa at the start of the week. As I say, the full preview for that game will be out later this week. But one thing that is taking over the headlines in the last few days is transfers once again. Amanda Staveley came out and spoke about transfers the other day. Eddie Howe spoke about transfers the other day. The big ones kind of coming out as of yesterday and the day before is all linked to left backs. Possible backup, possible squad depth, possible replacement for Dan Burn, which I would still say is incredibly harsh. I would say that left back isn't my priority position. I still think centre back is the place we need to strengthen. I think Dan Burn did himself all right at the weekend. You know, I think Dan Burn was part of the best defence in the league last year. People are saying that maybe it's Target, who maybe isn't quite where they want to be, and because of that we need to strengthen. Really, I would say that Dan Burn is more the rotation with Botman at left centre-back. And then we need an actual left-back to play left-back in tandem with Target, or at least have somebody with Burn to cover. Burn can cover centre-back or left-back, or can play left-back with cover. There's options there, but the options appear to be loan moves. Tierney and Cucurella have been smashing the headlines as Eddie Howe. As the Telegraph report, it could well be loans to try and save on FFP, to try and bring players in without totally smashing the amount of money that we've got left. Look, Cucurella, Chelsea bought him for 60 million. As a plane goes over. Wouldn't mind heading on holiday right now, get away from some of this rain. I do agree with Eddie Howe. I think loan moves would be fantastic. Bring players in on loan, didn't pay anything, cover a few wages, covers us for a season, and then next year we'll go out and do whatever we want. We're saying that if we are able to get Tierney on loan now, it will be with an obligation to buy at the end of the season, because Arsenal want the money, but nobody else is offering to pay. So is it better to let us have him for a year on loan and then pay them next season than it is to allow him to go to Real Sociedad for 12 months with no obligation, and then they get nothing from it? The one that I'm actually most excited for is Lewis Hall, the player from Chelsea, the young left-back that we have been linked with quite a bit over the last few weeks. It was reported that he was going to sign a new deal. There's also reports saying that he actually turned down Chelsea's new deal offer. There was links to him actually going on loan to Crystal Palace. And then as of pretty much this morning, it would appear that links to Lewis Hall going to Newcastle have started to stir up again. So that's the one I like that one more than the other two. To be honest, I think a young left-back coming in, similar to what we've done with Livramento, behind Trippier, young left-back behind Dan Burn. I think Dan Burn's good enough to cover himself, to be honest. And if we want to give a youngster a bit of time and maybe some of the home games against some of the lower teams in the division, I think that would be great. But it is centre-back that we are being linked with as well. The Anderson one from Crystal Palace continues to go on. Roy Hodgson actually commented on this and said he'll be very disappointed if the player were to leave, which shows that clearly there is conversations going on there. It's also being reported that Crystal Palace could well come down from their 40 million evaluation in order to sell the player, which I'm sure is music to Amanda and Murdad's ears as they want to try and get players for the best price possible. Another player that's starting to enter the frame is Todibo, the 23-year-old French centre-back from Nice. Don't know as much about this guy, but what I do know is that he's got age on his side. I think he would possibly be a better prospect for the future. I think a lot of what we're looking at right now is that we've had an amazing first 11. Let's keep picking up these youngsters to sit behind. Anderson from Crystal Palace is 27, so he's still got 4-5 years on Shaw. But a 23-year-old would be, close to 9 years on Shaw. Learn behind Shaw for a season. Next season, bringing him in a little bit more often. Similar to what we're doing with Isak. Isak didn't play as much last season, more due to injury than anything else, but Wilson was having a flyer. Bring Isak in when we need him. And then he has a flyer. Similar to, Miggy and Murphy, or as I said, Trippier and Livramento is a brilliant one. Trippier will play every game. Trippier is a fantastic player. But when we can, give Livramento a go. Next season, maybe it's more 50-50. Maybe the season after that, the tables are turned and it's Livramento playing more often as Trippier as the cover. And that's what I think we're trying to build. We're trying to build for this season, but for the next few years as well. So let me know your thoughts on the left-back, centre-back rumours down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts on Sandro Tonali's perfect debut and his visit to the local Wetherspoons. Your thoughts on the Amazon documentary and Man City this weekend. But as I say, I will be back later in the week for a full preview of that one. So be sure to subscribe. Do not miss any videos coming to the channel. And as I mentioned, go and check out my Patreon. A great chance to help support the daily content over on YouTube, as well as exclusive and some behind-the-scenes stuff over on Patreon as well. Did a behind-the-scenes video at St James's Park the other day, which was good fun. So be sure to go and check it out. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.